Hi everybody, Sita here. This is the Shawl Knitter Unplugged, and I think this is about my 10th attempt at recording this video. I have recently moved to South India, near Auroville, and I live in a village called Kotakupam. And it's a very noisy place. In fact, life in India is noisy. And one kind of gets used to it, but when you're trying to record a video, it's extremely difficult. So life continues, dogs bark, crows caw, and motorbikes go racing past all day long. So I'm going to try and see if I can give you a bit of a video without too much background noise. There is going to be background noise, I'm warning you right now, but that is life in India. I think the only time that it is quiet is like after 11 o'clock at night, but then the lighting is not great. So I hope you can bear with me. And my background noises. I'll keep on stopping the video when the noise becomes too much to bear, even for myself. There goes the dog, and I don't know why this dog, especially this morning, is being rather irksome. So what am I doing? I'm doing what I seem to be doing more of these days than actually knitting, and that is winding yarn into balls, from skeins into balls, and then from balls into balls. So what I'm winding here is this gorgeous Eri Silk that I have recently acquired here in India. It's super fine. It's a lace weight. It's a 2-ply lace weight. And I did knit a sample with it as a lace weight, but it's very thin. It makes a beautiful fabric. I will show you the sample, but I've decided to actually hold it double and make a lovely silk scarf out of it. I do want to knit a sample, so I am going to hold it double. I have different thicknesses of the silk. Some I have already, some is coming, and my whole plan with this trip was to come to India and to buy silk and to return back to South Africa with some to sell in the knitting community there. And so far that's sort of kind of working out in an Indian style, as it were. So I received some silk, and I had to knit samples. I got 2 thicknesses. I had to work out what the thicknesses were, what the meterage was. It wasn't what we thought it was. So I have to knit samples to get gauge and just to test out the usability of the silk. So this is called Eri Silk. It's totally natural. Here's a natural ball of it. This is a thicker weight. This is a DK weight, which is much more slubby than the lace weight. It's really beautiful in its natural form. And this came in skeins, and I unskeined a couple and I washed them, and it's really lovely. And I have started knitting this sample of this lovely shawlette called Butterflies Flying Out of Your Stitch Box by Eri Silk, which is quite interesting because it's called Eri Silk and the pattern's by Eri. I am enjoying it. It's really lovely. I'm knitting it on a loose gauge on a 4.5mm needle, and it's really soft, but it still has that sort of a bit of a crunch of silk. I guess once I block it, it will become even more lightweight. But it is really lovely. I'm enjoying it very much. So I'm working on multiple samples at the moment. I'm working on this one, and then I have actually knitted a beautiful single lace thread swatch, actually, in a mosaic stitch, a beautiful, beautiful silk, what's it called now? It's like a cowl from the designer, new to me designer, Dando. I'm not really sure what the pattern is, but let me get the sample and show you. So this is the swatch that I made of the mosaic pattern out of a single strand of the lace weight silk, and it is really beautiful. As you can see, it's so light. It's light as air. It's like nothing. And this, I think, was done on a 3.5mm needle, which is not so small, and it's looking lovely. But I am going to try this this silk held double. That's the back of it. I'm sure this will be an absolutely gorgeous garment, but it is going to take quite a lot of time, I would say, in this very fine silk, and I am quite keen to try it held double. I'm not really such a big lace weight knitter. This is another gorgeous color that I got in the lace weight. In fact, I can show you I've got a few more colors. These are the other colors that I got in the lace weight. Really beautiful. So I got these as samples to try out and see how they work. They look absolutely beautiful. These were dyed up for me, and then I got the DK in natural. So I'm using it in natural at the moment, but I am going to do some dyeing myself. I brought my dye pots with me and my dye, and I'm going to dye some silk, which I think is going to be great fun, because silk takes dye very, very well. So that's my intention in the next couple of weeks, is to dye some up, and then to receive all my different sample weights. I'm waiting for the fingering weight samples to arrive, and then decide which ones I should actually purchase and bring home. So yeah, this lace weight has 600 plus meters on, and really took a very long time to unskein due to the nature of it. It is a little bit sort of sticky. You know, it's not a smooth yarn. So I did that a few days ago, and then I knitted the sample. But today I woke up and I thought, no, I want to hold this double. I really want to use this lace weight. It is really gorgeous. And I think the only way that that's going to work for me is if I hold it double. So I have found a new pattern, which is, it's actually a scarf, so it's not very big. I'm knitting smaller items at the moment. It's by Amber O'Brien, and it's called Striation Scarf. So I'm going to make one out of the silk. I'm sure it's going to be really beautiful. It's a smallish garment, and I'm sure it will go quite quickly held double. So I'm going to stripe it with this light orange and this beautiful brown, which is called bark, striped together. And I think it's going to make a really, really lightweight, beautiful scarf. So I now have to unball the ball into 2 balls. I do not have a scale here with me, so it's going to be quite interesting to sort of work out when to stop. because I do want to use the full amount of the yarn held double. So I have to just use my judgment, my better judgment, and stop at the right time. I think I'm getting there. Almost there, nearly there. So hello, here I am. I thought I would bring myself back into the picture for a little while. And as you can see, I have a whole lot of shawls hanging up behind me. I strung them up on a temporary line that I put up here in my room, as they've been in a suitcase for quite a while, and I decided to air them out and have a look at them. I love to see them hanging up there. So I brought these shawls. You know, I travel always with my work, with my shawls, with my wool, with my dye pots, with my dyes. There's nothing I haven't brought with me this time. I am going to be here for 4.5 months. So basically I'm just carrying on with what I do wherever I am. And that is why I like to use the term a nomad knitter, which is really what I am. So I am going to take the shawls. There's a gallery in Pondicherry who is going to have my shawls in her gallery. We have spoken. I have yet to go and see her, and I'm trying to finish off one shawl that I would like to show her. I think I have to stop now. I would say this one might be a little bit bigger, but there we go. Breaking the thread, 2 balls. First color done. Now I have to start on this big ball of the brown, because that's going to be the second color. So yes, I am waiting to, well, not waiting, I am finishing off a second Scrappy Shawl by 50 Fabulous Knits, which is one that is, I started just with the desire to do something nice and bright and full of color. So I have a beautiful one, another beautiful one with me, which I think you've seen. I've shown it quite a lot, and I'm almost at the end of the last one that I would like to complete and take with me to the gallery. So this is what this one looks like. So it's super bright. It's knitted with, this section is knitted with African Expression Soul, which is a sock yarn, and this is a big lace panel that I've done, and I'm making this bright with some bright neon yellow and shocking pink and a bit of sort of avocado green. And then the rest of the shawl, which is in a chevron stripe, is again in some bright colors but with lots of mohair. The thicker stripes are mohair, and the background color is gray and purple, and it goes on and on and on. So I think this one's going to be great fun. Sorry, I had to stop because somebody was driving past with a megaphone advertising things to sell. I really hope that this is not going to distress you too much, all the noise. But if I don't do it, I'll never do it. So this is the lace panel, and yes, this is at the top, and I've just got that much more to go of my short rows. Every time I get to the end here, I knit 2 together and turn around. So it's going to be quite bright, quite light, because there's a lot of air in it with the mohair, and great fun. And I wanted to have 2 very different ones for the gallery, just to show what one can do with knitwear and how different it can be. So this is the other one, and this is the lace section. This is some of my own hand dyed merino linen, which is really gorgeous. I love merino linen. It's one of my favorites. And then this is the stripe section of this one. This is a beauty. It's a really beautiful, big, lovely, gorgeous shawl. And the other one's also going to be very big. But, you know, I just needed to have that fun element of the neons. And I think to present these two together in the gallery will just be, you know, will just give that extra bit of interest. So there's this one, and then to contrast, there's this one. And I think they're both just going to be great. Of course, once this has been blocked, it will all stretch out and the lace will look like lace, but that's it. That's my main project of the moment, apart from the samples that I'm doing with the silk. So look at that. I mean, that is just such fun. And this is just such elegance. So that's given me great joy at the moment. In fact, everything's given me great joy. Working with the silk is really exciting. And it's keeping me busy, because I need to get all my sampling done and make my decisions as to what I'm going to order, and order the yarn, and let my people know what they're in for. Show the samples, make my decisions, and then also do some dyeing of the natural. So I've done my best today, and I really hope, please let me know if this was all too much for you, and then I will have to try and do my next episode in the middle of the night when it's quiet. I see now the dog, and now that I've decided I'm going to give up, the dog has stopped barking. So I'll tell you where I live. I live on very close to the beach, to the Bay of Bengal, near the city of Pondicherry. And I am on I have a rooftop apartment, and I'm at the level of the tops of the mango trees and the coconut palms, and there's a wonderful breeze here, and there's lots of lovely light and lots of air, but it does tend to funnel up all the noises from down below. So I'm kind of getting used to it. It's very difficult for me actually to become accustomed to so much background noise, but I do put on my music and I just get into my knitting. But the lovely thing about being here is that I'm very close to the ocean, and it's so warm. The ocean is about 20 degrees, so I can go for lovely swims whenever I feel like it. I have a bicycle to get there. I can walk to the beach. I have walked to the beach a couple of times, but it definitely helps to have a bicycle. And I'm soon going to be getting a scooter, because Oroville, the community of Oroville, where a lot of wonderful things happen, is quite far from here. It's too far to cycle, especially now that it's getting really hot. So the next few months are going to be quite a challenge with knitting, but I think if I'm knitting with the silk, it won't be difficult for me, as I will always have a breeze, which is the one wonderful thing. But yes, it's going to be too hot to be cycling around on a bicycle, so I am getting a scooter, and then I'll be able to be more mobile, and maybe even go and hang out in some AC cafes, which there are around here, and sit and knit. So I went the other day to this beautiful, beautiful bespoke garment studio called Upasana. You may have heard of them. They do have an Instagram page, upasana.in. I will link it in the notes, but they are a wonderful group of ladies who employ women who were affected by the tsunami in the early 2000s in this part of India, who lost their homes, lost their careers, their businesses, whatever they were doing. So they have taught them wonderful skills, and I think some of these women were already skilled in very fine embroidery work and in sewing, and they put together beautiful garments from traditional pieces of hand-woven textiles, which is very big here in South India. Beautiful cotton textiles woven down in the south, and they also use embroidery from Kutch, and they create very elegant wear. And gosh, I have my eye on many of their pieces in their store. But I was invited to come and have a look around their back of store process work, where the ladies do the embroidery, where all the beautiful hand woven and natural indigo dyed fabrics are stored, and meet the staff and also share with them my handwork, which was really wonderful experience for me to get feedback from them. Of course, there is really nothing like these kind of shawls to be seen in India, so it was quite something new, and they really appreciated it, and they modeled them for me. So I had a really lovely visit with them, and I was very happy to have the shawls to show them, as it's quite difficult to explain this work if you are not accustomed to seeing it. So yes, it's taking me a while to get into the flow of life in the south of India. You know, before I was up in the mountains, and it was really, really, really peaceful in North India, in Uttarakhand. Just the birds, and when I say the birds, I don't mean the crows, lots of other birds. Here are many crows. The crows have overtaken every other kind of bird, and they are very noisy. So I'm getting used to life here. It's very not easy. It's not easy at all, but I have my knitting, my solace, my meditation, and all my beautiful silks and yarns around me. So I just dive in and be creative and go and swim in the ocean. And soon I will be going to the gallery. Once I have finished my neon Scrappy Shawl, I will be going into Pondicherry and going to meet the owner of the gallery and be inspired. So I did want to mention, I have mentioned once before, but I will just quickly mention that I will be joining in the peers from 50 Fabulous Knits. I will be joining in her knitathon on the 22nd of April. So I will be presenting a video, a podcast on that day. I think I have to really check up on the timing, because I think it's 2 p.m. Indian time, which I'll have to work out exactly what time that is everywhere else in the world. But I think that if you go and look on 50 Fabulous Strik, I'll put her website down below. You will be able to see the time. She has already allocated the times that everybody will be presenting their podcast. She's gathered together a whole lot of podcasters to fill up the 24 hours with different things: knitting, music, piano playing, storytelling, all sorts of lovely things. So I have participated once last year, and I will be doing that again this year. I did a live last year, and I was very unhappy with the outcome. It was very difficult. It was the first live I've ever done. So I do intend to pre-record the episode and to put it out at the required time. So I'd love you to join me there. That's going to be great fun. I'm sure I'll have a lot of finished, or not a lot, but a few finished silk garments to show you, shawls, lots of new fun things. I hope I will have dyed up some of the natural Eri Silk and also that I will have some other thicknesses to show you as well. So thanks so much for putting up with this very, very, very noisy episode. I've done my best. I've stopped it every 5 minutes when the noise got too much. It seems today I just decided to do the podcast. It's probably the noisiest day it's ever been. But what to do? Once you make a decision, you have to go with it. Because I have tried quite a few times, and there is not going to be a silent moment. So this is life in India, and noise happens. Thanks so much for joining me, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and press the like button. And I also have a Patreon account, which I'll also link, which it's not terribly much about knitting, but it's more about India. You could get some insights into what I'm doing in India and what is happening just in general day-to-day life in India. And I'm also on Instagram as Tribal Bling. So thanks. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your week and your weekend, and happy crafting.